Prime Video has a hit on their hands with Reacher. The latest Nielsen charts show the show absolutely dominated during its premiere week. We also have Samba TV charts showing that it is a continued success week over week. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of our future videos here at the Trent Report. With that out of the way, let's get into this here. Nielsen shared their data for the week of December 11th to December 17th when the second season of Reacher premiered 3 episodes. It racked up 1.687 billion minutes viewed, taking the top spot on the Nielsen Originals Top 10 chart, defeating Netflix's The Crown, My Life with the Walter Boys, Obliterated, Squid Game, The Challenge, School Spirits, Virgin River, Yu Yu Hakusho, World War II, From the Front Lines, and Sweet Home. Massive, massive dominance by Reacher. The Crown was the closest at 1.2 billion. If you want to see how well it did in the overall chart, it was in second behind Leave the World Behind, the Netflix film starring Julia Roberts. That had 1.9 billion minutes viewed, with Reacher 1.6. It bested Young Sheldon at 1.4. So absolutely dominant performance by Reacher in its season 2 premiere on the Nielsen charts. Not only did Reacher dominate the Nielsen charts, but TV Line also reports that the audience was 58% male and 2/3 of its viewers are age 50 plus, kind of destroying the whole, we got to chase that new demographic. We got to put everything female centered and we'll get that new demographic. Well, the boys are telling you, the men are telling you that they can bring the audience with a well-crafted, excellent show in Reacher. I mean, it's hard to to deny the fact that Reacher has seen massive gains since season 1. If we go back and look at some numbers here, that Deadline's Katie Campione says that the show actually surpassed the entire season 1 audience by 50% in the first 3 days on the streamer. She added that the series was the best performing program, quote, in terms of total viewers on Prime Video for all of 2023. It's unclear what total viewership was for the show, as Prime Video does not release that information, and Nielsen only reports minutes viewed for streaming. However, we do have that Reacher season 1 did 1.8 billion minutes viewed in its first week, but that's when they released all 8 episodes. We're looking at just 3 episodes now at 1.6 billion. So clearly massive, massive increase from season 1 to season 2. And I would assume that they probably brought in more male viewers as well. And they probably brought in a bunch of female viewers too, because probably husbands like, hey, this is a great show, and they watch it with their wives. So, and maybe they're introducing it to their, I don't know if they want to introduce it to their children, like young kids, but maybe to their adult kids or something like that. If they've got kids that are maybe seniors in high school or about to go into college, et cetera, et cetera. But I do think it disproves this whole got to chase that new demographic in order to have great viewership. That's a bunch of baloney, as TV Line reports. Again, 58% male audience and 2/3 of the viewers are age 50 plus. So just blowing that whole narrative out of the water is what Reacher is doing. So they have huge success here, and that success is even better than The Lord of the Rings of Power. Obviously, The Lord of the Rings of Power season 1 had a 2-episode premiere, and it did 1.253 billion minutes. So 3-episode premiere for Reacher, 1.6 billion. So obviously, you can say like, well, it had an extra episode, so that's why you have that. You have those extra viewers, but I think as time will play out, the truth will unfold, is that we saw a 63% drop off for The Lord of the Rings of Power season 1. That's from the Hollywood Reporter's Kim Masters. She reported that only 37% of people who watched the first episode of Lord of the Rings of Power completed the entire series. Whereas if we go and look at what season 2 is already doing here on Samba, it is dominating the charts week over week. You can see in its first week, it was indeed in second place behind Netflix's Leave the World Behind. That matches up with what we saw at Nielsen. And Samba TV also reported that in the next 2 subsequent weeks, it was at the top of the charts. I didn't include their tweets here. They are indeed there. It was at the top of the charts. It was number 1. It just recently fell to 3rd with the release of its 6th episode. It was behind The Equalizer 3, which just debuted on Netflix, as well as Fool Me Once. So this is a huge hit for Prime Video. It might be their biggest show ever. I think this is kind of the path forward for the entertainment industry, telling really good, strong stories, featuring male heroes doing masculine things, saving the day. I think there are some things that they can improve. I've talked about in that previous video, not going to get into it here, because we want our heroes to actually be true heroes, and I think they should be doing what is just all the time. And hey, that's not to say they can't fail, but if they do fail, they have to pay for that failure, or that failure has to have some kind of consequences that they learn and grow from and work to overcome or put it right. So, but I think there's room for that, for Reacher to improve on that. But this show is clearly showing Hollywood this is how you make good TV. You have a strong male hero doing masculine things and fighting against crime and evil. Good versus evil is indeed a story that resonates with people and can generate massive, massive amounts of viewership. And I think once we see the Terminal List number 2, I expect similar things with that. I think we're going to see a rise in kind of the action hero again, similar to maybe what we saw in the late 90s, early 2000s. I think you can keep those budgets down. You can tell really good, interesting stories about those characters, male heroes, male characters doing masculine things, saving the day, getting society back to where it needs to be, solving problems, fixing things, and putting bad guys away. And I think that is the future for Hollywood, if indeed they want to follow it. Reacher is showing that you can do that and be highly successful. You don't need to chase this quote unquote modern audience. You don't need that for the massive viewership. You can have a 58% male dominated show do extraordinarily well and continue week after week to do well. So this is a really good sign. A lot of reason to be optimistic here for the future of Hollywood, at least when you're looking at certain studios maybe that are outside of that Walt Disney bubble. But let me know what you guys make of these excellent viewership numbers for Reacher for season 2. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, but to always speak the truth.